August 2015, the world's finest athletes assembled in Beijing to compete for global glory on the track and infield at the 15th IAAF World Athletics Championships. The magnificent Bird's Nest Stadium proved once again to be an astounding amphitheater for athletics, and over 9 days of competition, we were treated to some astonishing events, cracking competition, and simply sensational times, heights, and distances. So take a moment to enjoy our countdown as we reminisce on the top 10 moments of the 2015 IAAF World Athletics Championships. Number 10. Men's 3,000 meter steeplechase. Historically, the men's 3,000 meter steeplechase has been dominated by Kenya. With 4 athletes on the start line of the final in Kenyan colours, the East African nation looked well placed to extend their impressive run. But a serious threat to Kenyan hegemony had emerged in the form of Evan Yeager, the North American record holder who, after an impressive Diamond League season, was looking to claim the USA's first medal in this event. The Kenyan quartet dictated the pace of the race from the gun, using team tactics to share responsibility for the tempo, all except defending multiple champion Ezekiel Kemboi, who was content to stay in the pack. At the bell, Yeager's brave challenge began to fade as the Kenyans pulled away. The medals would belong to Kenya, but what would be the order? Ezekiel Kemboi answered that question in emphatic fashion. The 33-year-old veteran injected a devastating, decisive burst of speed that he sustained to the finish line to take championship gold and lead home not just a Kenyan clean sweep, but the first 4 finishes, just the 3rd time in World Championship history that this feat had been accomplished. Victory secured, the wily champion tapped his temple knowingly, suggesting that experience was the crucial component in claiming his 4th successive world title. Number 9. Men's 100 meter final. The men's 100 meter final provided one of the most compelling stories of the entire championships. Usain Bolt was returning to the Bird's Nest Stadium, the venue where he burst onto the world stage as a transcendent sporting figure in the 2008 Olympic Games. But after a season beset by injury and inconsistency, Bolt entered the final facing probing questions and extreme pressure. For once, the defending champion and world record holder was an underdog. It was Justin Gatlin of the USA who took the mantle of pre-race favourite based upon his world-leading time of 9.74 seconds and a winning streak that stretched over 2 seasons and 29 races by the time of the final. The widely held belief that Bolt's dominance was in doubt was supported in the preliminaries. Gatlin, the world number 1, was the fastest man in both the heats and the semis. Bolt stumbled at the start of his semi-final. At the gun, Gatlin burst out of the blocks in blistering fashion, but Bolt got a better start than in his stuttering semi. At the 50-meter mark, Gatlin led by a slight margin, but Bolt responded magnificently, digging deep to find an extra gear to draw level and then overhaul the world leader. Bolt powered through the line to take gold in 9.79 seconds. Gatlin floundered in his final few strides to clock 9.80 and claim silver. And 2 20-year-olds gave us perhaps a glimpse of the future, as Canada's Andre de Grasse and USA's Trayvon Bromell shared bronze in 9.92 seconds. But the here and now still belongs to the fastest man we've ever seen. Usain Bolt produced a nerveless display to dispel the doubters, retain his title, and claim his 3rd 100-meter World Championship gold. Number 8. Men's triple jump final. The men's triple jump final was one of the most eagerly anticipated events of the 2015 World Athletics Championships. Christian Taylor of the USA and Cuba's Pedro Pablo Picardo had battled all season long, regularly breaching the 18-meter line during some dazzling duels. As such, the final in Beijing was expected to be a showdown between the newest members of the exclusive 18-meter triple jump club. The biggest question revolved around whether these 2 triple jump titans would push one another into uncharted territory to break the 20-year-old record of Jonathan Edwards. At the halfway stage of the final, Taylor and Picardo were tied at the top of the leaderboard with identical distances of 17.60 meters. Solid, but not spectacular. The competition exploded into life in the final round. Portugal's Nelson Navora seemingly drew inspiration from the scene of his 2008 Olympic triumph to register 17.52 meters, his longest jump since 2009, and ultimately good enough for bronze. Taylor and Picardo were the last 2 athletes to jump in the final round. Gold and silver would be awarded to these men, but who would claim which color? Taylor's 17.68 from round 4 led Pichardo by just 8 centimeters. With the Cuban last to jump, the American wanted greater insurance. He bounded out to 18.21 meters, the second longest jump in history. A silent bow to the crowd was the full extent of his celebration. Pichardo still had one jump remaining. Undaunted by what he had just witnessed, the Cuban produced his best jump of the competition. But 17.73 was well short of Taylor's mark, and Pichardo came away with his second successive World Championship silver. Taylor's incredible effort secured his second world title, a personal best, a national record, and a continental record, but not a championship record. The 18.29 meters of Jonathan Edwards was set at the 1995 World Championships in Gothenburg. Number 7. Women's 200-meter final. Reigning champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce elected not to defend her crown, while Olympic champion Allyson Felix opted to compete in the 400 meters. The lineup for the final proved to be a cross-generational affair. Poster girl for the veterans was former world and Olympic champion Veronica Campbell-Brown, while the emerging stars included newly minted 100-meter silver medalist Daphne Schippers from the Netherlands. Would youth or experience prevail? Campbell-Brown got away well and ran a brilliant bend to lead coming into the home straight. Her compatriot Elaine Thompson responded, came to the fore and seemed to be heading for victory. But the strength of Schippers, who claimed heptathlon bronze in the World Championships at Moscow in 2013, saw her chase Thompson down and overhaul the Jamaican in the final few strides to take gold. In claiming the Netherlands' first global sprint title for 67 years, Schippers stopped the clock in an astounding 21.63 seconds, a new championship record, a new European record, and gate-crashed the all-time lists to become the third fastest woman ever over 200 meters. Elaine Thompson took silver in 21.66 seconds to become the fifth fastest woman in history, while Campbell-Brown battled her way to bronze in 21.97 seconds. For just the second time in history, 3 women had gone sub 22 seconds in the same race. Number 6. Women's hammer throw final. Before Beijing 2015 got underway at the Bird's Nest, many scheduled events at the IAAF World Athletics Championships sparked vigorous debates amongst track and field fans. The women's hammer was subject to no such debate. Poland's Anita Wlodarczyk entered Beijing 2015 having become the first woman to throw 80 meters. It was a new world record and topped the world list for the season by more than 5 meters. The world number 1 entered the hammer competition in Beijing with a winning streak that stood at 16 competitions. She was the overwhelming favorite. Her second round effort of 78.52 meters was almost 3 meters beyond what any other athlete had managed all year. In the third round, Wlodarczyk breached the 80-meter line for the second time in her career with a championship record of 80.27 meters, but she still had more to give, and in round 4 bettered her own championship best for the second time and what was turning into an epic evening of elite hammer throwing, launching the implement 80.85 meters, just 23 centimeters shy of her own world record. Wlodarczyk won championship gold by more than 4.5 meters. It was Wlodarczyk's second world title, adding to the one she won in Berlin in 2009, making her the first woman to win world hammer titles 6 years apart. Number 5. Women's javelin throw final. The women's javelin final proved to be one of the most dramatic events of the entire championships in Beijing. Defending champion Christina Erberg-Förl led a quartet of German finalists, while Olympic champion and world record holder Barbara Spatakova was also present. But sentimental favourites for the home fans in a packed Bird's Nest Stadium were the Chinese duo of Liu Hui and Li Lingwei. And at the end of the first round, ecstasy enveloped the entire arena as Liu and Li occupied the top 2 places on the leaderboard. Round 3 saw the lead change hands on 3 occasions, but perhaps was most notable for Spatakova's failure to make the top 8 and secure a further 3 throws. Inspired by the home crowd, Liu launched her 5th round effort to an Asian record of 66.13 meters, putting her in prime position for gold. With the final throw of the competition, Monitor let rip. The javelin sailed beyond Liu's mark to snatch gold. Molitor's supreme last gasp effort in the final round surpassed the 67-meter mark for the first time in her career, setting a personal best of 67.69 meters and elevating her to 8th on the all-time list. The new champion's late triumph left the hearts of the home fans broken in the Bird's Nest Stadium. Number 4. Women's 5,000-meter final. When Genzebi Dibaba stood on the start line awaiting the gun for the 5,000-meter final, she was about to embark on her 5th race of the championships. The Ethiopian had already completed the first part of her mission for a World Championship double by storming to victory in the 1,500 meters. Dibaba had orchestrated a brilliant, unbeaten season on the track that included new world records over 5,000 meters indoors and 1,500 meters at the Monaco Diamond League. But would the 5,000 meters prove to be a race too far for Dibaba? Her compatriot, Almaz Ayana, would serve as the chief inquisitor. Ayana entered the race as the world leader. The performance she produced in Beijing was simply breathtaking and left Dibaba for dust. Testing Dibaba's reserves in the middle part of the race, Ayana scorched through the final 3,000 meters in a remarkable 8:19.91. She continued to pull away from Dibaba throughout the second half of the race and crossed the finish line in first place with the biggest margin of victory in championship history. The clock stopped in a new championship record time of 14:26.83, almost 18 seconds ahead of her compatriot silver medalist. Not Dibaba, but Semberi Teferi, who relegated Dibaba to bronze with her final few strides. It was the second Ethiopian clean sweep in the history of the event, emulating the accomplishment from the 2005 World Championships in Helsinki. Number 3. Men's 400-meter final. The new Mondo surface at the Bird's Nest Stadium was unveiled and confirmed as lightning fast during the heats of the men's 400 meters. This served to whet the appetite for a final which featured all of the main contenders for championship gold. Defending champion LaShawn Merritt and reigning Olympic champion Karani James had between them claimed every global title since the Beijing Olympics. But an African challenge was promised from Botswana's Isaac Makwala, 5th on the all-time list and the African record holder, and South Africa's Wade van Niekerk, who was unbeaten over 200 and 400 meters all season. Running blind and perhaps scared in lane 8, Merritt burst from his blocks to run a hard first 100. But Van Niekerk remained within touching distance, scorching past Olympic silver medalist Llewellyn Santos to stay in contact with the defending champion. A brilliant final bend saw Van Niekerk enter the home straight with clear daylight between him and the rest of the field. James responded with an impressive burst of speed but couldn't sustain it, and his challenge was short-lived. Merritt then demonstrated his immense power with a surge of his own, but failed to make any impression on the lead established by the South African speed merchant. Van Niekerk charged through the line to take championship gold in a new African record of 43.48 seconds. Merritt took silver with a personal best of 43.65, and Karani James claimed bronze in a season's best of 43.78. A superb race was suitably stacked with sensational statistics. For the first time in history, 3 men had broken 44 seconds in the same race, and Van Niekerk vaulted to number 4 on the all-time list. Number 2. Men's Javelin Throw Final. At the 2013 World Championships in Moscow, Kenya's Julius Yego set a new national record and was in bronze medal position entering the last round of the men's javelin final. He ultimately finished 4th, but achieved fame and notoriety as a world-class Kenyan athlete in something other than a distance running event. Fast forward 2 years, and Yego had improved his personal best by 6 meters. Despite Olympic champion Kershawn Walcott's failure to make the final, the field was loaded with talent and experience. So much so that entering the 3rd round, Yego found himself in a perilous 8th position, precariously clinging on to the spot that would ensure a further 3 throws. The pressure was on. Yego's response was magnificent, hurling the javelin beyond the 90-meter mark to take a firm grip of the final. His Herculean effort was measured at 92.72 meters, a new African record and the 3rd longest throw in history. It was good enough for World Championship gold. For the first time in history, 5 men threw beyond 87 meters. Ihab Abdelrahman secured silver with 88.99 meters to seal Egypt's best ever finish at a World Championships, and Finland's Tero Pitkämäki took bronze with 87.64 meters, adding to the gold he won in 2013 and the silver from 2007 to complete his World Championship medal collection. Yego's crowning glory capped a brilliant competition. The new champion became the first Kenyan medalist and victor in a field event. His throw was the furthest in the world for 14 years and was just 14 centimeters shy of Jan Zalesny's championship record set in 2001. Number 1. Men's Decathlon. Despite not contesting a decathlon for more than 2 years, Ashton Eaton began the defense of his World Championship title from Moscow as the overwhelming favorite to retain his crown. And having rested his body from the rigorous demand of the decathlon, quiet whispers were audible about the possibility of Eaton improving his own world record. But 10 events and 2 grueling days of competition lay between Eaton and a return to the World Championship podium, let alone a new world best. Any championship hardware would be hard-earned indeed. Eaton started his title defense impressively, clocking a World Championship decathlon best of 10.23 seconds in the 100 meters. Eaton performed consistently in the long jump, shot and high jump before closing day 1 with a real statement of intent in the 400 meters. Eaton blazed his way around one lap of the Bird's Nest Stadium in an astonishing 45 seconds flat to set a new world decathlon best for the 3rd time in his illustrious career. Adding to the 100 meter and long jump bests he delivered en route to the world record in 2012. Despite a subpar performance in the pole vault on day 2, Eaton was well clear of his rivals and still on pace for a world record entering the 10th event. The tables revealed that Eaton required a solid 1,500 meters to break his own world record. Still, 4:18.25 was a time he had bettered on only one occasion. Willing himself around the track, Eaton required a 63-second last lap. With pain, effort and determination etched onto his face, he crossed the finish line nearly 3/4 of a second inside the required time. Eaton had successfully defended his crown and set a new world record of 9,045 points, a 6-point improvement over his own previous best. It proved to be the only world record of the 2015 IAAF World Athletics Championships. Eaton became the first decathlete to set a world record at the World Championships. He joins the legendary Jürgen Hinkson as the only man to set consecutive decathlon records. Moreover, by claiming every global title available to him since the IAAF World Indoor Championships in 2012, Eaton further established himself as an ultimate exponent and all-time great of this most demanding event. We hope you've enjoyed our look back at these top moments. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great athletics content and visit IAAF.org for the latest news, updates and information from the world of athletics.